Alright, after a long time, welcome back to another video, and this time we have Android 14. So on the right is my Pixel 7 Pro, which is running Android 14 stable version, and on the left there is the Pixel 7a running Android 13 stable version, last with the September patch. Although it might seem like a small upgrade this time, but there is a lot under the hood. Some of the changes are user facing and genuinely useful, some are good to haves, but you know this is a video where you'll cover everything in detail. So without wasting any more time, let's check that out. Before we get into the differences between Android 13 and Android 14 and all the deep dives into that, let me tell you that I'll be getting the Pixel 8 Pro very soon, and as soon as it ships and I get it delivered, I'll be starting with my review process and giving you a highlight about all the pros and cons of that. So definitely stay subscribed if you want to see those videos, and stay updated with all the feature drops and other updates which the Pixel phones get. Especially with 7 years of updates, a lot of changes will be coming up because a lot of the changes are not there at launch. If you like this particular video, moving on, then please leave a thumbs up. That will really help the channel, and also let me know down in the comments below which is your favorite feature after the end of the video as well. Alright, so first things first, right? This is a new Android version, so let's get to the Easter egg real quick. Android version, and yeah, so this time, like, we had a Easter egg over here for 13, that is the one position. Here we have a game where you can see there is a spacecraft on the screen going around and you have to discover planets. It's a little different, nothing that we have seen before apart from a similar thing like Floppy Bird in a certain Android version, but yeah, it is what it is. Here it would change emojis if you press and hold it for a while, and yeah, that's about it. And here is the Android 14 logo officially. So obviously one of the highlights has to be the new redefined wallpaper and style app. So once you get into it, like, you had a miniature preview for both the lock screen and the home screen, here you have two tabs with a smaller text on the top. You have a lot more options in terms of colors. If you can see, the carousel is way longer with a lot more types of combinations, unlike Android 13. And in other colors also you have a longer set. Not just that, the dark theme toggle is also over here, you can choose so, but the grid style is actually down here from the main menu. Moving on, you also get previews of the previously set wallpapers over here, and you can just quickly enable them and you can see the tick mark on that as per the current wallpaper that is chosen. Getting to the exciting part, you have a lock screen preview with a preview and a carousel where you can swipe and change all the clock styles that you have. Getting into the clock style into a little more, you have this particular setting called clock color and size. Once you get into it, you can set the color. The first one is the default. You do not have brightness controls because it's based on the material theme you have chosen, but you can alter the size. Dynamic is basically a bigger preview when you do not have any notifications, and then it shrinks when you have notifications, and small is basically how it looks if you keep it all the time or when you have notifications on in dynamic mode. Switching through the colors, you can see that you can actually change the brightness of the particular color. You can give it a new look. So yeah, if you prefer some other color on your lock screen, then yeah, here is the option to customize it. Few more things that come up over here is that you have a reset button. So let's say whatever changes you have made, you don't really like it, so you can reset the whole thing and go back to what it was before you entered this menu and tweak things around. Apart from that, there is a quick look on some of the sizes and the dynamic size of it. So you can see how the lock screen looks here. The most interesting one is probably a full clock over here. After a long time you don't really get it, and the smaller one is a bit tough to see but interesting to have. This is a new font that's there, small, you can see, and every one of them have its own always on display transition to the regular screen turning on. So that's a really neat touch which Google keeps doing with its animation. It's really good. One more small thing to observe is that the animation, when you have this is a straight pop-up over here. Here there is a slight bouncy animation, if you can see. I'll do it again. There you go. So that same thing actually exists among other apps as well. So if you can see over here, there's a slight bouncy animation over here. which is similar. So for photos, let's say like this, you have the separation between the app related options and what you can do inside the app as well. So yeah, going deeper into wallpaper and style app, one more thing that adds into the lock screen section over here is when you scroll down, you get shortcuts option. Now unfortunately you cannot set any of the shortcuts, they are predefined. Unfortunately you can set both of them to none, which is great, but one thing missing in my region is the Google Wallet one. I would really appreciate to have it. But over here, when you have the left one selected, the left one is highlighted over here. Right shortcut selected, right one is highlighted. You can change it. Camera, do not disturb, flashlight, home, mute, QR code, and video camera are the options right now. The other change is that if you remember, if I go into the lock screen of both of these, over here, tapping once opened the home page over here in Android 13. But over here, what happens is you get a slide animation and a very nice haptic feedback actually when you just tap on it. The idea is that the mistouches actually get reduced, which is actually something I faced with my palm. This used to get activated even if I had the phone in my hand or something. But now you have to just tap and hold for a second and the menu would open up. Same with the flashlight over here. So that's how it works. Moving in, some more settings are actually in the lock screen option as well. If you go in here, you have more options and you can get to choose whatever you see in the lock screen options through the main settings. Alright, few more things which actually have changed is the share sheet. So right now I'm selecting an image and you can see obviously my common contacts are coming up right here. Next thing, when I hit share and share over here in Android 14, you have a preview, a bigger preview of the image. It also tells the type of file you're sharing, and the share sheet has a slightly different look as well. With that, you also get options for work apps also if you want. So here is the bigger expanded version of the share sheet over here, and it shrinks down like this. So let me just show you again. If I hit share, this is how the share sheet pops up. Also, you get an option, the edit option has moved into the button over here, which is a neat touch as well. Over here, you would have to scroll, and again, the differentiation was less. Also, if you are sharing text, this is something what the preview looks like. You get the sharing text option, as I said, the file type. You get a smaller preview with a copy button over here as well, and the similar share sheet comes up. Alright, one more thing which has been enabled on Android 14 is the drag and drop, the finger gymnastic style. Like you have a better elegant style of just going into something like multi-window and doing it. So you could, if you wanted, do something like this where you just select the images you want to take, drag them and drop them down here, and they just become attachments. But what you also have the option now is to, and let's say you are in an email already, let's just go back, pick out the pictures over here, go back to the email, and you can just drop them off. This is not it, you can actually do it with text as well. So let me just copy the text from here. You can hold it down and just, you know, probably like go to X and hit post and let it be over there, and you can drag and drop text as well now. Although I think this is a more cumbersome and two-handed operation that you need to do, the option is there if you prefer it. So that's mostly it. One more slight change that has happened is in the camera UI and the app. So as you can see here, there is a slight change. Previously you had camera and video modes in the carousel over here. Now it has changed into two main toggles over here of camera and video mode, and all the submenus of the camera and the video options are now in the carousel. And that I think is a better way of representing whatever modes you have, because Pixels have gotten a lot more modes currently, and that's been a change. Alright, few other changes which you can see in this app is that the settings menu used to be a swipe down or a tap on the top corner over here. Now it is on the bottom corner, so you can tap here or swipe up. Now you get the menu. Now this is better for handling it with one hand, so that's easier. Also, if you can see that the night side is turned off over here, but here by default, since auto night side is turned on, so for example if I do auto night side, both get the counters on the side in the similar place. Few other things is that hold and swipe on the menu over here, it's a little different in how it shows up. This is how the zoom slider looks like, and here it's back in the darker region only, and here it's within the viewfinder actually, which is slightly different. Flip of the camera and the preview has been swapped as well. And consequently, if I go into the video mode, you can see portrait blur, pan mode and stuff like that. So if I go into the video mode here, for changing the mode or the quality of video, I had to swipe down on the menu or hit above over here. Now what happens is you have that option right here, and you can swap it with all the settings you want to do while doing the video, being in the video mode. Similarly, for time lapse, you can just select the quality or resolution from here, slow motion, blur and stuff like that. Alright, so now getting into the quick tiles, first thing is about the media. First thing is about the music player. So now you get a animation from where the button is pressed with the sparkles, which isn't there over here. And same thing, if you go to the next track, you get something of a similar animation as well. The next thing is that when you go into the media picker, you have a slightly different look over here. You can see that there are different icons over here. You can pull this icon, and on this phone you can set the volume, and while doing so you can see the percentage over here of the volume, which isn't there in this particular Android 13. Also, you can press the leftmost button over here and just mute it. Alright, one more small thing which you see is in the type of toggle. So for example, the screen recorder, you can see that the toggle style has changed a bit and it looks pretty different. This is actually prevalent, and you can see it in all the settings apps as well. So for example, if I go into network, and you can see the toggle styles have changed in all of the setting pages as well, including the quick tiles. So another quick tile which is added now is font size. So once you add it, let's just go to it, and dynamically you can actually see the preview of the font size change right here itself. You can do it as per your liking and just see the real-time preview as well, which is pretty nice. Alright, so now that's done, let's just go into the settings and dive into what all has changed. Alright, so few changes which happened in the app section. For example, now you have something called as special app access, and once you scroll down, you have two special ones enabled here. You have full screen notifications, which allows or disallows apps to do full screen notifications, like for example the alarm, which is associated with the clock app. So usually the alarm comes up in the full screen, but you can disable it and just get a notification for it, and that's about it. But another thing which you can do is restrict apps which are expected to launch via NFC triggers. You can completely disable it from this particular apps setting. Now under notifications, you finally have an option to get flash notifications, which is like it will either flash the camera and you can get a live preview as well while doing it, or a screen flash and you can get a preview like this. This is something which will happen, and you can, once you click on here, you can actually decide on the color as well. So for example, if I click blue, you can see how the flash looks like on the screen. If I hit red, this is how the red will look. So here's how it will flash, and you can enable and disable it as well if you'd like it. One more thing is, if you have the predictive back gesture actually set up, which is under system and developer settings, and you go almost all the way down and find predictive back animations. Now there is a predictive back gesture which is not really that useful as of now. Only in some apps can you see it, but you can see the regular animation where it just swipes in a card style. But if I slow it down, you can see the preview of the previous menu as well, which is great. It's kind of nice, and if you do it fast also, the animation is pretty quick and looks kind of cool. So that's something which you can get when you enable predictive back gesture. Moving on, let's go to the battery section. So the battery section has been revamped. Now first thing is that you can go to battery usage and clearly see your screen on time since last charge. You can see the graph here as well. Now this has been recently set up, so the graph is not popping up here, but here you have two options. One, you can do it by apps and it's screen on time, and you can do also by system things, like now you have a clear visual representation of the CPU power consumption and also GPU and stuff, which will come up as per your usage of the phone. Right now in Android 13, it used to be all mixed. You got another sub menu like this to get specific things, but it did not have things like the CPU previously mentioned. So that's a welcome addition if you like it. Another thing is in the adaptive preferences. So previously you had adaptive battery and the charging under one particular section, but here you have adaptive charging and you just have a toggle over here. But the next thing is going to be battery saver, and here you have battery saver option standard and extreme, and you can add apps when you go into this. It looks a little different. So let's go into battery saver. You can see the battery saver here is a different kind of a menu as well, and you can select essential apps like this with check boxes. Here you can kick out or add things with plus or cross symbols. The essential ones will not give you the option of crossing them out, but the other ones you can get them added, or something that you have historically added as well. And the other thing is schedule and reminders. These are few new things which you have gotten now. Battery saver turns off after 90% or turns on after a certain percentage value, which used to be in the main menu before, and now you get battery reminders as well, which is something of a sub menu as well. But the thing is, the adaptive battery is hidden under this particular arrow. I don't really get it. This is something that not a lot of people can discover easily. Previously it used to be a lot easier, where you have adaptive preferences and you have adaptive battery and charging, but this is something of a hidden menu. I don't know. I think the discoverability of it is going to be a challenge for most people. Moving on, let's go to sound and vibration. First things first, now you can have a different volume for your ringer and your notifications. Now my phone is on silent, but when I turn it on to ringing mode, you can have a different volume for notifications versus something for your ringer, as you can hear over here. So yeah, that's something you can do now if you are someone who keeps your phone not on silent. Now under display, you get one more section under lock screen. As you saw that you have an option to select the shortcuts. This is another way you can get into this menu without getting into the wallpaper and style app. So that's kind of a shortcut over there. Wallpaper and style is something we have already covered. Something different now is from the security and privacy. You can see the logo has slightly changed. Previously you had like a stacked menu like here. Now you have menus that you can get into. So for example, app security, and you have a graphic over here. You can see what it exactly does. The previous menu used to look like this and how it looked in the Play Store, but now it's a bit different. Also, this button takes you back to the main menu, which is the back button on the top, or you use the gesture, and here you can see that it goes back to the Play Store and then comes back to the settings. Another thing is that device lock is now called device unlock, and you can set your changes over here, which was again stacked under a menu. Google security checkup is now called account security. So that's now just worded differently. Rest all remains the same. The new thing is going to be under device finders, which is renamed from find my device, and you have an option to check unknown tracker alerts. Now this applies for AirTags and similar things which are on a certain network and they could be tracking you. There is a certain way you can allow alerts, or you can manually scan now as well, as you can see over here. The next menu is going to be called the system and updates, which is called updates over here, and it had two menus of security and play system updates. Now once you go in, you have options for security, play system updates right from here, including the backup option. So you can go into the security updates here and play system update over here, which is very similar to what it used to be. It's just a little different from how it is represented under a stacked menu over here. As you can see, I have a play system update pending on my phone. But surprisingly, this went back to the Play Store, unfortunately. I don't know if it's a bug, but I would prefer not to have that. Privacy again used to be under a stacked menu. Here it's a different thing where you get the dashboard controls completely. So if I go into Instagram and go over here, if I select this, you can see that there is a different menu over here. Previously it only used to be allow all. Now you have an option to just select a particular few photos. So you can go into your recent photos or go into albums and just pre-select a few of them and just give the app access to those selective pictures This actually used to be there on iOS for a while. I think it's been a couple of iterations since they introduced it, but finally it's here on Android 14 as well. Alright, so that's about it for this particular video for Android 13 versus Android 14. Hope you got to know everything you needed to know. Also, if I missed out on something, make sure to comment down below, and obviously let me know what is your favorite feature on Android 14 and why you like it so. I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, stay subscribed and turn on notifications for Pixel 8 Pro videos, because that's going to be coming soon on the channel as soon as I get my hands on it. And that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.